So yeah, it's January. It's that most grim, miserable, longest of months. Winter's really starting to set in. It's getting colder and bleaker. It's not really getting lighter. And it's the month before suicide month, February, isn't it? Where it's still bleak and dark and the snows will be coming. So it's kind of that very grim time of year, isn't it? Kind of after the kind of Christmas hangover as well, isn't it? Of that disappointment that it wasn't some joyous, wonderful, fantastic kind of occasion. I will be doing a bright sense video, don't worry, to kind of cheer up the moment. But for now, this is just my little video of melancholic fragrances. You know, not too grim and depressing, but sometimes we are in that mood and we do wear fragrances to kind of suit that mood, don't we? So yeah, no waffling on, I'll crack. So first up, we'll start with a kind of bright, hopeful one, and that's Gris Dior. And this to me is kind of spring, summer, kind of sitting by a slow moving river, beautiful roses growing all around, the kind of sweetness, that kind of musky floral feel in the air. But it's also quite cool and crisp, so you're not quite into the heat or anything yet. And I think Gris Dior is a good melancholic one because it's that hope, isn't it? It's that kind of missing the warmth, missing the colours, missing the peace and the serenity. Not this volatile, grim weather. I mean, it's still exceptionally green here, which in January is a little disturbing because we haven't had a proper winter yet, have we? But yeah, when days are dark and miserable, I mean, it's only like, is it even 2 o'clock here yet? And yeah, it looks like it's, you know, evening's rolling in, which it is technically. And so we need that bit of something a little sweet and fresh and warming and cosy. And I think Gris Dior is that one. Like I said, sometimes it's my bedtime scent because it's serene and calming, and I enjoy it for bed. So yeah, first one, I'm not going to make these long, don't want a 50-minute video, do we? Is from Dior, Gris Dior. So next on the list is a more kind of melancholy one. I haven't actually done a post about this one yet either, and I've had it quite a while now. And yeah, I kind of blind bought it mental. It's that Viole Nere from Mio Fusciuni, who's like an Italian sort of indie niche person who just is a poet, and his fragrances have always sounded like just wonderful things. So anyway, I bought this one, and this one it's the story of the end of winter moving into the spring, and it starts off with this kind of chalky, orangey, dry, crisp, cool, you know, icy ground, and then slowly you get more of a kind of sweetness there. It warms up. There's like a sweet touch of greenness, and it warms, and you get more of a kind of damp, earthy patchouli and the springs of the violet flower, and there's all sorts of other things going on. But then as it develops, that orris kind of fades and moves into a more earthy kind of luscious green damp kind of thing. The spring, the ices and everything melting, and the flower blossoms and becomes, it's not a sweet Parma violet, it's not too chalky or powdery or sweet. It's just this beautiful kind of, almost to me like a solo lone violet flower. It's just a very beautiful one, and obviously this is what happens to the earth, isn't it? We start to sort of move into the warmer times, and although again you can't tell, all the dead, empty, frosted, barren earth starts to grow this green one. And I just think it's a good representation of how we feel kind of grim, waiting for that first burst of life and sweetness. So yeah, that's I'm not going to waffle on. Viole Nere from Fusciuni. So next is another indie one from a brand called BedeauX, based in the United Kingdom, and it's called Chouette or Chouette, or I don't know, don't speak French. And this one is this I've spoken about it a few times. It's this kind of darker, spicy, sort of green, floral, kind of dark forest to me. How it kind of comes out on me, and again, I think I've said this a few times, I think I have a very old bottle, and I think it's kind of changed a little, but not in a bad way, in the best of ways actually, where there's sort of this dark green, almost aromatic licoriciness comes through. And again, it's perfect for a kind of melancholy fragrance. It is these dark, damp woodlands, the darkness there, the smells of the dark green still in the air. This is your more moving into a kind of winter period, where everything's not dank, but a little, starting to get a little bitter, isn't it? And black. The earth and everything that's growing darker and darker, and it's a very beautiful one, and it has them aromatic notes in there. There's some lovely spices. I think there might be clove or something in there as well, giving that kind of dark, spicy, seasonal feel as well. Just a magnificent fragrance, what I've spoken about a fair bit, but it's lovely, and it's the moving into darkness, if you like, kind of melancholy. So that's Chouette from BedeauX. Next, of course, we have one, you know, it's practically in all of my lists in some way, shape or form, isn't it? That's Noir de Noir. Now this is your kind of, like as we know, the kind of vampirical one, your dark kind of truffly, patchouli, the dark red wine, the dark rose. This is again the end of autumn, that moving into the bleak, dark nothingness. And if you like, you take away the Dracula thing, but you have that whole gothic scene of the trees withering, the mushrooms in the earth, the kind of dark. November always seems to be the darkest month, doesn't it? Because it gets dark very quickly, and it's that whole thing, isn't it? As life starts to kind of wither away, but there's a kind of bittersweetness in there, a temptation, a kind of excitement about the dark, things rustling in the bushes, seductive women in black wanting to bite your neck, but with this little kind of glimmer of red there from the berries, and the roses starting to wither away, but still pushing on, ready to get your finger on the thorns and pierce them, and the blood on the earth. And it's that whole kind of like a gothic forest of horrors and things waiting for you, but still being really excitement. And it's like that last burst of it, isn't it? That last burst of life and energy and passion before the bleakness just completely takes over, and there's nothing, there's no colours, there's no sounds, there's just endless barren white frosty nothingness. So yeah, that's Noir de Noir from Tom Ford. We then have Love and Tears from Kilian, which is again moving into the nostalgic, the missing, the looking forward to spring kind of thing. This is basically a meadow of spring, dewy, wet jasmine flowers, and little touches and hints of lily of the valley kicking about. This kind of just green, beautiful green everywhere, with the flecks of the flowers starting to warm up and become more sweet and nectary in the sun. And it's just, again, it is pretty barren, but they're pushing through, and they're filling the air with that sweetness and that hope But generally spring here is always a false start, and these little flowers might come through and you get that sweetness, but it's just a little taster, and then you're kind of yearning for it again as the rains come and the frost comes back. And every time I wear this, does it in the winter, it's kind of, come on, dreaming of spring again. I want spring to be here. I want these beautiful seductive little white flowers winking at me and beckoning me to sniff them and what have you. And it's just, overall, it's back when Kilian was brilliant, back when they do a kind of more simplistic but beautiful, magical, vivid fragrance. And again, I've never been to where jasmine flowers grow and stuff, but I can just imagine it has enough of an English meadow, the green lushness and the wet from the rains and the dews and stuff, mixing in with them beautiful sweet jasmine flowers. An intoxicating one, and one of my favourites ever actually. Love and Tears from Kilian. We then have Mistman from Amouage, and I think this is actually a perfect one to typify all of this. Again, it starts off with this big burst of smoke and carnations, and well, a little hint of carnation and chrysanthemums, which is quite unusual flowers in there. Again, I don't think carnation's listed, but you get that spicy floral feel and the kind of unusualness of the chrysanthemum mixed with it. There's a little bit of elemi in there as well, giving it a kind of almost citrusy lightness, but on the smouldering ashes, the burning. But this stage, it's more the forest is on fire, everything's burning and everything's starting to turn black with the smoke. And then as it develops more and more, that kind of difficult, weird to some opening kind of dissipates, and you get the smoother kind of silky iris coming in there and a kind of smooth leather. But again, them smouldering ashes are still, they're getting blacker and kind of burning more. And then as you kind of move into the dry down, it's all about the ashes are just embers on the floor, still whiffing away under that kind of iris and the florals and the other things in there, and still a little bit of elemi. And to me, again, this is, yeah, it's almost a personification, if you like, or an well, whatever. It's a representation of what winter is, isn't it? The kind of burning rage of the summer into the kind of embers of autumn, and then just the nothingness, slowly smoking kind of bit of winter there. And it's just a beautiful fragrance, and it is kind of makes you sit there and think, wow, everything's on fire, everything's burning. Mistman from Amouage. And then again, another dark, aromatic, foresty one, and I put them both in because they are both different. This one is more, it's like a dark, almost medicinal old style pharmacy, licoricey, anisey, lavender kind of feel. That's a Lam Vital from To The Fairest London, another indie brand. And this one is, again, them dark winter forests, but again moving towards the end of winter, where the herbs and the things like that are starting to come through rather than die. So they're a little bit sweeter. The air and the greenery is a little bit more lush and fresh and vibrant. And it's again, it's one of them underrated ones. I think it's an award winner, you know, not that means anything anymore, but this deserved it. It's different, it's unique, it's like a nice take on a greener fragrance, but focusing more on the dark side of it, the closer to the forest floor, and the things that go on there, the soiliness, the herbs, the black kind of sweet smells of the soil and things. So yeah, I am waffling on. That's a Lam Vital from To The Fairest. And halfway through filming this video, I decided to change it a little bit into melancholy and hope, because I think, yeah, because I've noticed there's a kind of a brighter feel. The last fragrance will be kind of more hopeful. But another one we'll go for is Chanel's Misia, and this is again, this is a mixture of you starting to move into it, because it is the kind of violet, rose, iris, powder room kind of fragrance. But obviously if you look at it from the more kind of floral sense of it, the violet and the kind of iris give it that more, you know, old school kind of grim, melancholic, kind of cool kind of feel to it. And the rose, as when it starts to come through, adds that bit of sweet powderiness and a bit of joy and a bit of seduction. And thinking of something like this, you're thinking of, you know, going out to garden parties and events, and that smell that fills the air of this, and also all the natural flowers around you and the colours starting to come through. And yeah, I think this is that sort of more transitional one, again moving more and more into it. So and it does, again in the winter time, make you yearn for that, miss that kind of human interaction. And I think this, because of that makeup smell we have, be you male, female or non-binary, whatever, you crave for that smell of people. And I think makeup is a good nostalgic kind of feeling to make you think of people, isn't it? So that's Misia from Chanel. And so this video isn't too grim. I mean, this is going to repeat in my kind of spring ones, and it'll be mentioned many times. But that's from Nere. Well, it's Ray-Flection from Masque Milano. That's it, it was going to come to me. And this is the brightest of all the fragrances I've ever smelt and I've ever owned. And you smell sunshine in it. It is primarily mimosa, a little bit of what's it called, osmanthus. It's kind of an aldehydic, soapy kind of feel to it. There's lots of musks, lots of bright musks, like I say, soapy kind of musk feels, the warm musks. And it's an incredibly warming, bright fragrance. This is the sun beating on your face. This is the burning away of all that kind of misery and self-loathing and doubt and death. It's alive again. The sun's here, and it's just filling you with joy. And this is one of them. I'm not a smiley person, as I think we all know, but it brings a nice little smile, a nice little nod to better times and joy. And I also think of it as a bit of a kind of raving glow stick kind of fragrance, because it is that kind of luminous. So that is Masque Milano's Ray-Flection. So yeah, as you can tell, sometimes this happens with videos when you're making them. You kind of change direction halfway through, and I think it needed that bit of hope and joy. Maybe because it's not so grey and wet today, I have a bit of optimism in me, which is very rare. So we made the most of that and kind of mixed it as melancholic and the sprouts of hope. That's what I could call the video, isn't it? So there's some brighter ones there, but even when I was planning this, I thought you still needed these greener, brighter florals, because part of melancholy and stuff is yeah, it's that kind of sad, lonely, reflecting on the world, the grimness and all of that stuff. But also it's nostalgia for the things that were good, the sweet things, the green things, the happy things, isn't it really? So what about you? What will be your kind of most melancholic fragrance? What would you wear when you're in a bit of a kind of reflective, grim mood? What would you wear to remind you of better, brighter days and such like? Alright folks, thanks, bye.